Welcome to Up to the Minute. I'm Todd Duplantis, and it's a Thursday morning. We got a lot going on this morning. It's Thursday, Virtual Family Fun Day, and it's also the last day of September. Say goodbye to September 2021. It is almost over. That's right. And most importantly, we're one day away from the weekend. And I know Tony Rayo Sutherland works for the weekend. Dr. Tony, it's almost here.
Yeah, I only have how many hours left? Let me think. I gotta figure out my math here. I count the hours.
Counting the hours. One thing you can count on is we are on Facebook and YouTube live right now. We appreciate you joining us. But we're also on the HCCTV. You know, we work for them too, by the way. We're on HCCTV at noon and 5 p.m. with this show. So if you miss us in the morning, you can catch us there. But you can always find us in social media. Absolutely.
Look for Houston Community College District on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter. I continue on. We're on social media.
That's right. We're all across social media, so make sure you join us. Okay, Tony, you're going to be interviewing this next guest we're going to introduce for you. She's the Director of Programs at the George Ranch Historical Park. Susan Vandeferford, good morning to you, Susan.
Good morning.
And we're looking forward. I know you guys have a lot of things going on out there, so stand by because we're going to catch up with you shortly and hear all about the George Ranch. Stick around. Okay, we're going to kick things off right now with a specialist with instructional quality here at Houston Community College. Zach Schroeder is joining us this morning, and we're talking transfer fairs. Good morning to you, Zach. If we can get you to unmute your mic there. I think you're still muted. There we go. Hey, good morning. First off, did you take that picture behind you today?
No, I've had it for a while. It's for the last year and a half running though. So it's been one of those pictures that I got a hold of a couple years ago, and it's one of those I really like to use.
Yeah, well, it's the weather's about the same today, so it kind of matches the skies we have out there today. If you haven't been outside, I got a news flash for you. It's humid out there. 96% humidity this morning. Temperature was 75 degrees, but that didn't even matter. It was 96% humidity. So it's kind of brutal out there. Zach, one thing I know we talked before on the show, you guys have had your transfer fairs. They're real important to our students because many of them are looking to transfer to another institution. You guys did those online during COVID. Now you're looking at doing them in person and online. How is that going to work?
Yes, we're very excited to be able to bring them back on campus after a year of having them done virtually. We actually have 8 locations throughout the system that will be hosting the fairs, which begin on Monday and last through the 14th of October. So it's basically going to be 2 straight weeks of fairs, 8 different locations around the HCC system. 3 of those locations, though, have switched to virtual, but we're still looking and hopeful that 5 of them will still be held on campus. Each event will take place from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Every day. And, we're excited, switching back to having to do the kind of the virtual formats this past year. Did present some challenges. So we're very excited to have the students back on campus starting on Monday and be able to kick these fairs off at the same time. So it's a great marriage for those two.
And for the students who are interested in going in person, what can they expect? I mean, you're going to have representatives from all these colleges. Are most of them, I imagine, in the state of Texas? Or are you going to have any from outside?
We have a handful of outside universities from out of the state that will be present. So we were very excited to see that. Majority will be those in Texas from the Gulf Coast region and surrounding throughout the state. But we do have some out of state schools that will be joining us. So we're very excited to have them as well.
Do the schools, and maybe I'm not sure if you can answer this or not, but the schools that are going to be there, will they be offering students online versions of Take It? I know online seems to be the big deal now, but will the students have that option with many of the colleges that are going to be there?
Absolutely. I expect that. And one of the positives that have come over everything that's gone on with the last year is the increase with online education, the reach that's out there, because there really are no boundaries anymore, especially when you're dealing with schools from out of state. Students can attend. The ability for them to take online courses and to complete online programs has tripled and possibly even quadrupled over the last year as far as the ones that are available out there to students. So yes, every single one of those, and usually a lot of the out-of-state schools that we do partnership with, they do offer online programs for the students to complete their degrees online. So that's definitely a huge option for them.
So are we living in a world now where, and this is just another example, let's say that I'm going to HCC, and I want to get my degree. I want to take my 2 years at HCC and maybe get my degree, my 4-year degree from, say, LSU or something like that. Is it now possible that I could still live in Houston but get that degree through LSU through their online versions? And I'm not necessarily talking that particular school, but other schools.
No, that's definitely possible. And it's one of the things that we strive for when we do set up these agreements with out-of-state schools. Arizona State University is one of them. They're offering over 20 programs to our students, 20 bachelor's degree programs and some master's degree programs that students can complete with never really leaving Houston. They can basically take half of their degree here with us at HCC, then spend the next year or two completing the remaining bachelor's requirements for their degree there and graduate. And so anytime one of the big deal makers that we look for these when these universities approach us from out of the state is their online capability. What are they offering there? What can they we want to make it as fluid as possible for our students to transfer over there and be able to complete. The completion is the main goal that we're looking for.
And once again, could be a difficult question for you, but if a student is at HCC and say they want to go to an Arizona State and simply not even walk on the campus, but complete the whole course load virtually, are you still subject to out-of-state tuition with that? And I'm not narrowing them down, but other colleges, would you still be subject to those out-of-state tuition fees?
Well, you would be amazed how many of the universities are waiving those fees now.
Wow.
And offering discounted tuition as well for out of state. So that's one thing we've seen a lot over the last, actually pre-COVID, we had a lot of institutions that were reaching out to us and that were not only waiving the out-of-state fees, but basically charging in-state tuition for those students that were still
That's great.
Out of state. So they've done great. They've offered scholarships, huge incentives that have come about, that especially when we do join these partnerships, we're looking out for the students. We want to make sure they're getting the best bang for their buck as far as going through and completing their bachelor's degree. So those are some of the elements that are in those agreements to entice the students to want to transfer.
I'm glad you said that because, I had a situation with my daughter years ago who had instructed me that she was really encouraged to go to a private school in Tennessee. And I said, that's great, but are you crazy? Because of the out-of-state tuition in private school, the cost was astronomical. She stayed home and she's going to U of H, by the way, and she's about to graduate. But still, I imagine it would be tough for those students who may want to go to an LSU or an Arizona State who really can't afford to take on that type of debt. So you guys are looking at that ahead of them to make sure it's easy for our students to enroll with the most affordable options for them.
Absolutely. We have a list of about 5 or 6 things that we look for initially when these institutions do reach out to us. And we want to make sure they check every one of those boxes and stuff, because we want to get everything that we can out of those agreements that will not only help our students, but also our institution as a whole.
For the fairs themselves, they're going to be taking place on Monday, the times, and if a student wishes to bring, are you limiting it to just the students, or are the students allowed to maybe bring a parent who wants to observe with them as well? Who's welcome to the fairs, or who's open to go there?
Everybody's welcome to go. And it was interesting you brought that up. And a couple of the virtual options we did this past year, we had various cases where we had pretty much the whole family on the Zoom call with the university in there. And that's fantastic. That's great.
It sure is.
For those students to have that support system. I needed it. I was the first generation college student, so my parents were there every step of the way with me initially getting started. So it's open to everyone. Students can bring whoever they want, and even at times the parents may see a great thing and decide to either continue their education or finish what they had started.
Zach, if someone wants to get more information on the fairs that are coming up, where can they go on the web to find information on our website?
On our transfers page on the website, there is a link right at the top that does say learn more about the transfer fairs. And what it'll do is it'll pull up the live schedule that's on there right now. And we are making changes to those and keeping them as updated whenever anything does occur. If there's any kind of switching to virtual or remaining on campus, that's the best look right there, because you'll get a live look of what the schedule actually looks like there. Below that is also a list of about 60 representatives to our partner institutions, their contact information. I also include information if they're hosting any individual kind of, campus preview days or any kind of additional fairs that they may be offering throughout the semester when we're not offering ours, so students can reach out to them at any time. So it's definitely right there on the transfer page.
Well, Zach, we appreciate you joining us here on Up to the Minute to update us on the transfer fairs. Good luck on the next one happening, and let us know how things progress with this.
I will do. Thank you very much for having me on once again.
All right, Zach, appreciate it. Okay, we are going to turn things over to Dr. Tony because it's Thursday Virtual Family Fun Day, and Tony's got a special guest from the George Ranch. Tony?
Absolutely, George Ranch. Anyways, she is the director of programs for George Ranch Historical Park, Susan Vandeferford. Welcome to the show.
Hey, good morning, Tony.
Hey, good morning. There's a lot of stuff to talk about that's just wonderful about George Ranch. I don't know why I want to put a B in front of it. It's George Ranch. But anyways, I'm going to stop saying it. Maybe I'll be in better shape there. But it's in close to where I live, Missouri City. Tell us a little bit about George Ranch.
Yeah, so we're out in Richmond, Texas. So it's just outside Missouri City and Sugar Land. We're pretty close to the city. It doesn't take too long to get out to us. But we're in the rural area. And the ranch itself is about 500 acres. It's a living history museum. So we have 4 historical sites on the property that represent 4 generations of one family that came here in 1824. As part of Stephen F. Austin's original colony. So each of the generations passes through the daughter, and we have homes to represent each one of those generations.
That's wonderful. So you have these great old houses and vintage structures. Tell us a little bit about that. You said it's 4 generations. So how does that work?
So the first generation came here in 1824, as I said, with the Stephen F. Austin colony. That was Henry Jones and his wife, Nancy. They had 12 children, all of which survived into adulthood, which is pretty spectacular for that time period. Their eldest daughter, her name was, everybody called her Polly because they had 12 kids and multiple Elizabeths and multiple Marys in there. So, but everybody called her Polly. She eventually purchases and inherits some of her father's property after he passes in the 1860s. Her and her husband, Colonel William Ryan, they have 9 children, 3 of which survive. Their eldest daughter marries a gentleman named John Harris Pickens Davis. We call him Judge Davis. And they have the 3rd house on the property. That couple has 3 children, and their eldest daughter, who survives, she has the last generation on the property. So that's Mamie George, and that's where we get the George Ranch name from, is the last generation. And so it's kind of cool to have this history, but it's all passed through the female line.
I think that's interesting that it passed through the female line, because normally, especially in that time, things went from the eldest male to the eldest male. How do you think? I mean, that's just unusual, but very nice.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I think Nancy was really a powerhouse woman. They had their first child on their way to Texas. And then one of her other children was born like a couple days before the runaway scrape. So she's a brand new mom and fleeing the Mexican army. So starting with a really great mom in the entire thing is a good deal. But then we get to Polly, and Polly was also a very strong woman. From all the records we have in some of her writings are pretty spectacular. And, she did have a husband, but we do know she ran a large portion of the cattle business that they had out here. And she also had one of the first prenuptial agreements in the county. So that's also pretty special. And then her daughter, Susan, marries Judge Davis. And unfortunately, Susan dies at the age of 30 of tuberculosis. So she really doesn't continue on with the family. But she did tell her husband who to marry when she died. So she picked out his next wife.
That is so perfect. Okay.
Yeah. So still pretty strong in that regard. And then Mamie ends up, Susan's daughter, Mamie, ends up marrying one of her father's employees at the bank. Her father owned a bunch of the local banks, as well as being a cattle industry baron. He also was part of the banking industry. And she married Albert Peyton George, and they ran the George Ranch together. And they were running cattle, as well as we have lots of records of Mr. George having chickens and turkeys and ducks and all sorts of fowl out here, as well as sheep and pigs. They were avid hunters, so there's a lot of hunting parties that happened out here. We've got a big lake next door that's on the property that they would have gone and hunted for duck and pheasant and everything like that. So
they wanted to make sure they had enough to eat right there on the land.
Yeah, yeah. And of course, we get to the Great Depression era, and they found gas and oil on the property. So at that point, it really more becomes about gas and oil money and not so much about cattle ranching. But they still continued to cattle ranch, and we still have cattle here to this day. Although it's not what Mr. George had on the property at the time, we do have a heritage herd of Texas Longhorns. So that's kind of fun to have out here.
Wonderful. The real Longhorns.
Yes.
Well,
yes.
Tell me, you're head of the education programs there.
Yes.
Now, there's a lot of things that go on, I guess, on an everyday basis or just regularly. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we are open Tuesday through Saturday, but Tuesday through Friday, we specifically cater to school groups. So that is our main mission, is local school education. The George Foundation, which actually owns all the property, they have a grant this year that's allowing any Fort Bend County student to have a program here for free. So we're really trying to help out the community and get these kids out here and learning about their local history, because that's what we are. We've been here since 1824. So that's really special. And so we try to get the school kids out during the week, and then on Saturday we're open to the public for anybody who wants to bring their family or their friends, or just come out for the day and enjoy the day outside. I mean, we're on 500 acres. Just the museum is on 500 acres. So it's a lot of room to spread out, especially right now with everybody, being conscious about not being too close or being inside or anything like that. And, we're an outdoor venue, so it's a good place to come and spread out. We're also right down the road from Brazos Bend State Park, so you can kind of double up on your day out if you're out this way.
So you pick up a lot of historic information, but there's also fun. I understand there's corn husk, doll making, historic games. What are those?
So we do a lot of different programming throughout the year. We're coming into October, which is our Texian Market Days month. And we're going to talk a little bit, I guess, next week about that. We have that on the schedule. So stay tuned for next week for more information on our Texian Market Days. And that's where we do all those reenactments and crafts. But we do have other events throughout the year. In November, we're going to have a Great Pumpkin Roundup. It's actually a photo op at our George Ranch house. We're having pretty much 2 truckloads of pumpkins being delivered here next week, and we're going to be setting them up in this really cool kind of installation art way, and then you can come out and take pictures. So that's going to be really fun. And then we'll have a fall festival the weekend of Thanksgiving. So you can come out to the park that weekend. We won't be open on Thanksgiving, but Friday and Saturday we'll be open and doing some crafts for the holiday. And then Christmas will be coming up in December, and we have our annual Campfire Christmas event, which will special tickets to the park. It's in the evening, usually involves a dinner and then a tram ride out to our line camp, where the cowboys will be out there serving coffee and hot cocoa. And we have musicians that come out and sing, and a couple of the houses, one of the houses is going to be open for tours. We'll have it set up for Christmas. It's just a really nice night. And we also have a children's version of that that'll be coming out this year, and that's a day event. So we do all these things seasonally throughout the year, but the Texas Market Days one is our big annual event.
Oh, I can't wait to see these things. This is wonderful. And it's right in my back door. Well, tell me, has COVID affected, I'm sure it has, the field trips and all those kind of things?
Yeah, and we've been trying to work with them as best we can. We've done some virtual classrooms for a couple of the local schools, and that's worked out really well. We've also opened up a lot to the homeschool groups because they can come in smaller. They don't have to charter a bus. They're coming with their family. So we've done a lot more for homeschool groups out here. Actually, today I've got a homeschool group doing a program right now. So we've got some kids out here learning about cowboys in the 1890s. So that's kind of a fun thing. But we're trying to keep everybody safe, but also still have fun and be open and keep that mission going of youth education.
So next week, as you mentioned before, we're going to talk to you again about the special event coming up in October. How can people purchase tickets for all this?
They can go online on our website. It's www.georgeranch.org. And you can click through and just get tickets for your Saturday events. Or if you want to come out for Texas Market Days, there's a special tab for that. We're also always looking for volunteers. If there's anybody interested in coming out and getting in costume and giving tours or doing hands-on projects or crafts with the people out here, we are always looking for volunteers to be a part of our team out at the ranch. So there's more information online for that as well.
Well, that sounds wonderful. And if let's see, the website is georgeranch.org/Texan Market Days. Is that right?
Yeah, that's just the link. You can just do georgeranch.org and that'll get you to us.
Okay, that's good. Makes it much easier.
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you, Susan, for being on the show, and can't wait for next week for you to tell us more about the October event.
It's going to be a great event. I am so excited. So hopefully we'll see everybody out there.
Great. Well, this is Susan Vandeferford, George Ranch Program Director. I said it right. Yay. Hey, Todd.
All right. Thanks, Tony. Thank you, Susan. We'll see you next week. Okay. We've got some HCC news and announcements to go over. One of them happening this weekend. October is upon us. Starts tomorrow, October 1st. Well, on Saturday, October the 2nd, there's Race for the Cure. Let's race or walk for the cure with HCC's Student Life's Pink Out Walk. All you do is walk 1 mile in your neighborhood, park, or trail. It's the breast cancer walk. Sign up to receive a free Team Tough Cookie shirt while supplies last. For more information, we'll have a link in our social media post. And it's Hispanic Heritage Month. We'll continue that all throughout up to the minute in the mornings. We have special guests slated for next week as well. But there are some events happening across the district, Tony.
Absolutely. There's movie night, McFarland USA, Wednesday, October 6th, 6 to 8 p.m. at the Stafford campus. And then there's a reggaeton dance class. That's virtual, believe it or not. But you get to do all your moves at home, so you don't have to worry about anybody watching you, that kind of thing. So that's Wednesday, October 13th at 6 p.m. And just go to hcc.studentlife@hccs.edu for more information.
All right. We've got Women in Friendships and Academia coming up. HCC's counseling department is presenting women's perspectives, creating a space for brave conversation. This month's guest speaker, Dr. Margaret Price of Ohio State University, 9 to 11 a.m. Friday, October 22nd. Put it on your calendar. We'll have a link to that event in our social media post for the show. And Dr. John Swan is doing something special called the Bible 101, Tony.
Yes, you can travel in time to visit the regions, people, and cultures of the biblical eras with online and on-site community learning courses. And they include things like archaeological, biblical, and historical data. So it's going to be very interesting. There's a little bit of a fee applied to it, but not much. And we'll give you the information on how to check that out.
The Betachek Orman auction, that's not that far away either. November 6th, rather. They need your help. They need donated items, and they want you to register to attend. Auction proceeds support professional development opportunities for our HCC faculty. That impacts our students. So make sure you get on board, help them out. They need some auction items. If you got a friend who maybe owns a business, get them involved with this. They'd like to auction that off. They could make a great donation and help our faculty. We'll have information in the on the emails and where you can get a hold of them after the show in the social media post. And it's always a good time to register to go to HCC. This semester alone, we've got millions of dollars, which our students are able to request through emergency funding to help you pay for all of your college. They've given out one round for the fall. There is more funding available for the spring. We have like 60 million available for students. That was given to us by the Higher Education Emergency Relief Fund. This is because of COVID. In order to be eligible for these funds, you have to register as a student. You can use them to pay for your transportation, your tuition, all of your tuition, childcare, food, supplies, anything that helps you get to class. That's what you can use it for. You can register for classes by going to hccs.edu/now. In-person classes, Tony, they're back on Monday. And I know being a faculty member, you're very excited about that.
Oh yeah, we love to come see the students. It's really great to see people face to face. You get a lot of interaction. Yeah. And I wanted to mention that we have 4 and 8 week courses, the shortened courses. Yes. For fall that is coming up, and it's coming up on October 18th. So you can still register for those too.
Yeah, you can still register for them, but you've got to register soon. Spring registration is going to get underway in the next few weeks. So we'll have more information on that. But meanwhile, you can still get some of those credits knocked out of the way before we reach the holiday break. So more on that at hccs.edu/now. Tomorrow on the show, Hispanic Heritage Month continues, Tony.
Dave Sobrero of the Latino Film Festivals joining us for Film Friday. We can't wait for that.
All right. And we'll also have the director of the Northeast Honors College Program, Carolyn Cross, who was recently program director of HCC's speech department. And she's also very active in a number of other projects. We'll talk with her tomorrow on the show. I believe you're off tomorrow, right?
Yes, tomorrow's Friday. Oh, that's right.
Yeah, you're not on it up to the minute. Frank's here tomorrow, so he'll want to talk sports. We know that's going to happen. Yeah,
you guys do sports.
We'll get Frank's take on things. His team lost this past weekend.
Oh no,
Chiefs. So he's going to be bummed.
He's going to be sad. He's going to be very sad.
It's been a tough week for Frank. So we'll talk with him tomorrow. Tony will be back Monday, but I'll be back tomorrow, and we hope to see you all at 10 a.m. right here for Up to the Minute.